What if life was like a video game? You grow up and level up. Try to max out your stats. Finish missions and get as much XP as you can along the way. But have you ever stopped to think, what's the game really about? What's all that XP for?
Hi, I'm James.
And I'm Matt.
And this is XP.
XP is a series designed to help you explore your story and what life is all about.
Stuff like, who am I? Does life matter?
Oh.
And why aren't we happy all the time?
Hang on a sec, guys. It's the postie.
We're about to go on an adventure to help you explore life.
James and I are Aussies and have a Christian viewpoint, but that doesn't mean you have to.
Yeah, XP is for anyone, regardless of who you are or where you come from.
There'll be plenty of opportunity to discuss our stories, so feel free to share your story and even openly disagree with us.
Yeah, I disagree. Hey guys.
That's Jesse. He's along for the ride too. Most of all, XP's meant to be fun. This definitely isn't school. As you can see, us Aussies don't take ourselves too seriously.
So come join Matt and I for a road trip to talk to young people like you and hear your stories from all over the world.
Wait, what? You think we're going around the world?
Yeah, we're going to Europe.
We don't have the budget for that. We're just going camping. Didn't Jesse tell you?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh. Well, I won't be needing these then.
After you. You go first.
I don't do much, apart from go to town.
Engineering pub crawls are pretty wild.
I guess I spent about a month camping all around Australia.
I mean, I walked like 20 kilometres home one time because I got lost. Fitness!
When I was driving to Melbourne, you know, sometimes you gotta get the need for speed, so I pretty much was flying through, but you know, got my coat lace shoe, but...
I traveled for 21 days in Cambodia alone when I was 14.
Maybe going to camping with my friends for 2 nights.
So we got 2 inflatable mattresses and we duct taped them together, floated across a lake. A bunch of dudes on a boat came up and they were like, yeah, how's it going? Good on yous. And they chucked us a bunch of beer. It was a very surreal experience, but it was good.
I feel like I haven't been on it yet.
A couple of years ago, I went canyoneering in a flooded river in Indonesia. Canyoneering is like whitewater rafting, but without the raft. All you get is this life jacket and this flimsy little helmet that isn't protecting anything. That's it. You jump in the water and you swim down to the river to the next point. The conditions were dodgy as. The night before it had just bucketed down. The waves were almost 4 foot high and there were rocks everywhere we had to dodge thumping down the river. It was sketchy as and we were so lucky to survive. But to make it worse, we had all of these Japanese tourists with us who couldn't swim at all. So me and my mate had to keep rescuing them like drowning cats each time they were released downstream. It was epic and totally wild.
James and I have been on some pretty epic adventures like that.
We've been to more than 30 countries.
Spent more than 5 years of our lives overseas.
And seen some of the most amazing places the world has to offer.
We love to travel. I guess you could say it's part of our story.
What do you mean by story?
Everyone has a story about who they are and where they're headed. As teenagers, we tend to be the main character. I thought winning high school meant having the most friends and doing anything to fit in. I tried to make friends by not taking anything too seriously, which meant joking around, partying, and leaving every assignment to the last minute. All I wanted to do in my spare time was ride my bike. I couldn't have cared less about my future. So everyone has a story which helps them work out who am I, what we like and dislike, and where we're headed in life. We're looking for where to fit. Most of us, if we're honest, are still figuring all that out, and probably sick of people asking us. Everyone has a story. What's yours?
I need like an hour to talk about this.
There's not much to tell General Adelaide do.
I don't know, I was a real quiet kid growing up.
I grew up in the hills and now I'm living in the city, feeling very far away from the place where I grew up.
We used to live in Iran. We had a hard life, to be honest, compared to here.
Parents worked hard to get me here.
I grew up in a single-parent home, suffered from bullying.
I'm a dancer. I'm also a musician.
Just working at a liquor store, being in a band, doing uni.
I really like surfing. She really likes braiding potatoes.
I thought we'd end up being like some sort of like laughing fantasy people, and here we are doing math.
It's not gonna last forever. So live young, live hard.
I don't know, I just want a house on the beach, something simple.
Because I really want to be an engineer.
I want to be a wildlife something. I don't know.
This is our friend and total legend, Beth. As a general rule, I just assume she always has something helpful to say about almost anything I have on my mind.
We all have stories that help us understand who we are. Some of us, like Matt, are class clowns. Others of us struggle to fit in. Some are heroes and some are rebels. But as we grow up and explore the world, we discover that we aren't the main character as much as some of us would like to be. We start to have experiences that make us realise we're part of a bigger story we aren't writing. So as teenagers around 14, 16, we start to explore the bigger picture and where we fit in that story. We start looking for a life story. We need bigger stories than just our own individual story to do that. As well as exploring who am I, these bigger stories help us explore what life is all about and where we fit. Some people would say life is about becoming famous and want to be popular. Others say life is a competition to become successful and rich. And we all have those friends who are constantly looking for love. Most just buy into the desire to be happy with a nice house, family, and a decent job. But even though our story gets bigger as we become adults, we still need to know who we are and where we fit in. But now it's with a larger life story. That's why it's so unfair when people ask us as teenagers, what do you want to do with your life? We're literally in the zone where we're meant to be figuring that out. It's okay not to have the answers yet. It's like the philosopher Alistair McIntyre says, our great human need is to find out which story we are in and to locate our place in it. We inherit these bigger life stories from our friends, our role models, parents, and even from our culture. But some of these stories aren't helpful. Some are from companies just trying to sell their stuff. Buy this and you'll be noticed, wear this and you'll be popular. These stories are designed to keep us living a selfish me story that keeps us consuming our whole lives. So as teenagers, part of figuring out who am I is starting to sift through the bigger stories that help you to explore not just your own story, but who we are and where we fit in the bigger picture.
Hey James, when did you first know you loved to travel?
It's when I was 19. I set out to live and study in Indonesia. I absolutely loved it. Since then, I've been lucky enough to travel overseas almost every single year. When I think about it, and this travel story, it's not just a me thing. Us Aussies are obsessed with it. Like I was reading somewhere that last year, 11 million Aussies went overseas. That's almost one trip for every 2 Australians. Just about every teenager these days seems to gap year and travel.
So what's that about?
For us Aussies, travel and adventure is central to who we are. It's all over social media. It's like life's a giant road trip, which we're trying to cram with as much XP as we can.
Sounds like one of those bigger life stories Beth was talking about.
Bro, that's deep, but what do you mean?
Yeah, go with us for just a sec. So this travel story helps us work out who we are. We're travellers and wanderers, but it also helps us work out who our friends are, fellow travellers along the way. And it helps us work out some of that bigger life stuff, like what life's all about.
To be spontaneous and experience as much as we can.
How to spend our money.
On experiences rather than things.
And what to do with our spare time.
Obviously, travel and explore. It's part of the bigger story about life, which seems to be saying, this is it. So make the most of it.
Yeah, this is one story which has shaped how a generation sees the world. Helps us understand who we are, where all this is going, and what all our XP is for.
So maybe you're thinking, what's the point? I'm just trying to fit in at school. What's this got to do with my life? Especially if you aren't on the adventure bandwagon.
We all have different threads in our story that weave together and make us who we are. They matter. They shape how we see ourselves and the people around us, how we do life, and even down to what we say living is.
In XB, we're going to explore these stories and what's underneath them. We want to see which stories make the most sense of the world around us and what makes a difference to our lives.
We want to help you start to work out your story, because life is too short to follow the crowd.
Comedy, probably, yeah. My life's a bit of a joke.
Oh, definitely adventure.
I'd say a puzzle game because you're just trying to work out where all the pieces fit.
Surgeon Simulator.
I don't know, a series of unfortunate events.
I wish my life was like a fantasy MMO or something, like something magical, but probably Surgeon Simulator.
If my life was like a video game, I would be Gordon Freeman from Half-Life 2, exactly. A guy who sits in the background and carries a crowbar.
I definitely wanted to be like GTA, you know? A lot of that stuff is illegal, you know?
If you've watched any Indian movie, yeah, that's my life.
I think it would be The Big Bang Theory. We friends always like to hang out and talk about hypotheticals.
Mine would definitely be a very romantic movie. Oh, yeah? Where? Where's that romance? Yeah, also wondering that. But I would just like that. Ah.
So James, I hear you asking, how did travel become such an Aussie rite of passage? And why is that generation so obsessed with it?
Wait, what are we doing here?
Great question, James. Rewind 70 years ago, and there was a different story.
Oh, hello there. I'm Chip Johnson, and welcome to the 1960s, where everybody knows the secret to a happy and satisfying life means studying hard. Years of backbreaking hard work and unquestioning loyalty to a large multinational corporation. And above all else, to fit in. Yes, keeping up appearances, pretending to be happy, and adhering to crushingly unrealistic social standards are the bee's knees. This couple is living the dream, and that means not making waves. Buying a house in a nice suburb and having a nice family with your nice wife that you will marry. Yes, even you, Billy.
It's Emily.
Oh, Billy, you little ragamuffin. See, it's that simple. Life, we've planned it for you.
Fast forward 20 years, and young people started to question the truth of this story. Young people discovered that their parents' hard work didn't always get them anywhere. Company loyalty meant nothing if corporations could make it cheaper overseas, and the happy family wasn't really that happy at all. The story wasn't working. Life was more than just seeing who could make the most money. There had to be something more. This story wasn't answering their deepest desires. It wasn't life. So a new story was born. Young people in the late 60s, 70s and 80s ditched their parents' life story and set out on a new journey to discover themselves. Check out this beauty. The journey became more important than the destination. Their mantra became, this is it, so make the most of it. Fill your life with as many diverse experiences because that's what matters. That's what life is all about. Fast forward to now, as teenagers, James and I both bought into the travel story. We gap-yeared, we travelled, we stuffed as much XP into our rucksacks as we could. We blew a lot of money doing it. But there was a problem. After all this travel, we had this nagging feeling. Is this it? Why were we doing this? There's got to be more to life. It was that same feeling that the teenagers of the 70s had when they set out to create their new life story. But this time, their story wasn't working.
Yeah, I got to this point one night road tripping across the Mojave Desert that it clicked. This life story was no better at making sense of our world. I was accumulating all these experiences, taking all these photos, but for what? I wasn't really present anywhere I went. I had this sense of emptiness and exploitation. It just wasn't working. What if life was more than just the sum total of all our XP?
Steve Jobs, the bloke who invented the iPhone and changed our world forever, summed it up this way right before he died. It's strange to think that you accumulate all this experience and it just goes away. I really want to believe that something survives. But on the other hand, perhaps it's like an off switch, click, and it's gone.
So what all our stories really tell us, more than anything, isn't what life is all about, but that our generation is searching for something that really matters. But what? Have you ever wondered what all our XP is for? What if there's a story out there that makes better sense of everything?